this is Sarah, or waterlily716, and this is
Michael,
my husband. We've been married for like 5 months now. If you don't know, I think you've been living under a rock or something. But I'll put our wedding video down below in case you want to know. But anyways, I asked the other day on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter what questions you guys had for both of us about maybe living in the Middle East or married life.
or anything else.
Or anything else. So now we're just going to answer y'all's questions. And before we get started, we are in a new place. I have stopped teaching. I decided it wasn't the job for me. Michael's still teaching, but we've moved to Dubai. So this is our new place in Dubai. What up? Okay. So I will start with the questions on Instagram.
How long did you date before getting married?
So we dated for 2.5 years before we got married.
I think that's right.
That is right.
Yeah. That is right. Yeah. Is Dubai more free than other Eastern cities? For clothing, etc., how is it to be a woman there? Well, for being a woman here, I find it fantastic. You know, as my... Okay. Did you already have problems? It's a very negative outlook. Or unpleasant or difficult situations.
Dubai is not very conservative at all. I've seen Western women wearing like
short shorts.
Super short shorts, short skirts, like pretty much anything goes here. I think the Emiratis still find it disrespectful because that's against their whole culture, but a lot of Western women wear the type of clothing here. Before we're living in Doha, Qatar, which is more conservative, and there you definitely will get like weird looks or even people like calling out at you.
Handing out cards saying to mind the culture, respect the culture. One
of my friends got like a card about like respecting the culture, or you might even like someone once shouted out of a car at one of my friends while we were walking down the side of the street. So like it's definitely very conservative in Qatar or even in Jordan where Michael studied abroad. But it doesn't really bother me because really you just have to like cover your knees and like wear short sleeves, which isn't really that. But it's not really that annoying.
Dubai is definitely different.
Dubai, yeah, it's very westernized, yeah. And
it's closer to Lebanon than it would be anywhere else in the Gulf, where basically not anything goes, but about anything goes here. You go to another city in the Emirates, it's a little bit different, but.
Okay, so that answers your questions. Personally, I haven't had that many bad experiences, but there are little things that you have to know about the culture. But as far as like, I see a lot of women in the workforce, and like women can drive in both Qatar and all the Emirates, so it's pretty much very similar other than random things.
When would you like to have kids?
So I think several people asked about this, and I think we're going to wait like maybe 5 years, 7 years. Both of us are still in our early 20s, so we're still figuring out what it is we want to do with our lives, and like what exactly career path we want to stay on, at least for the meantime. So
yeah, once you have kids, you kind of have to actually plan 10 years down the road instead of just year to year.
Yeah, and we're just flying it by.
So we're taking a few times.
Seat of our pants at this point.
Traveling a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully,
but don't worry.
They're on the way.
They're coming.
They're in the oven.
I possess the eggs.
Do you regret cutting your hair? Do you miss long hair? Another question for me. Thank you for asking. She makes me cut my hair.
Excuse me. I am the YouTuber here. Okay. Anyways, I don't regret cutting my hair at all. I went even shorter if you've seen my last 2 videos. It's really fun. It's just a change, and at the end of things, hair is hair. So you should do what you want with it because it always grows back. That's my philosophy.
Have you guys ever had any embarrassing moments while being married? See,
we couldn't really think of a good answer to this question. Can you think of like a really good embarrassing experience in your life?
One time I sat on butter.
So Michael's home perpetually is the couch. And
the couch.
One day this was when we were in college, I was just sitting next to him and I was like, Michael, like, I feel like you're sitting on something, why don't you like stand up? And he stands up and he has sat on a whole stick of butter. I don't even remember.
What happened? Oh, you slid in next to me so I had to slide down.
Yeah, sure, blame it on me. I think you were having like butter on toast or something, but he managed to squish like half of the butter. So for the rest of the semester, we just made fun of him for sitting on the butter. So
it was a bad day. Was your husband always gone for curlies, or are you his first? She is my first curly. Yes.
Oh.
Do either of you snore?
I didn't know this.
She does sometimes.
I only do sometimes. I have a really bad family history of allergies, so it's just sort of bound to happen. And both of my parents snore.
She also snorts when she laughs.
Hey, stuff they don't even know.
Stuff they do need to know. Would you ever live in the UAE permanently? Probably not. I think we both want to move back to the States. That said, I think if something like ridiculously nice, we'd end up back in the States eventually, but if there was like, at the moment our situation is pretty good. When Sarah finds a job here, or even when she starts tutoring, like, we'll be making more money, but if like a really good opportunity comes, I think we would consider extending it, depending on how long.
But yeah, we definitely miss our families who are all in the U.S., and it's definitely a very different culture, which is a beautiful culture, but maybe not the culture that we want to raise our children in.
Also, an international question. Is it common to get married in the early 20s in the U.S.? I saw a lot of it on YouTube. And apparently in Switzerland, the common age is for 30.
So I want to actually look up like the average age of marriage in the U.S. For those of you that don't know, Michael and I both got married when we were 22.
I'd say just for our friends, I think there's a wide range.
Yeah.
You find it. So, to answer your question, according to, I don't know what, theatlantic.com, my phone died. The average age of the first marriage in the United States is 27 for women and 29 for men. Up from 23 for women and 26 for men in 1999. So, it's getting pushed back, but again, I guess I'm 7 years off, you're only 5 years off.
Yeah.
So not too bad.
The next question comes from Twitter, and Zainab asks, is it warm all year?
Well, it's warm now, and then it gets unbearably hot later, so yes.
Yeah, it's about 70 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit in the cooler seasons, and then in the summers it's like 90 to 105 degrees Fahrenheit.
It's like
so
22 Celsius for our international fans out there.
Mm-hmm. We live in the middle of the desert. Okay, so coming from Facebook, I have another question about kids. We already answered that. Someone asked, what has changed about the both of you after getting married? Okay, so I think both of us have changed a little bit in this way, but I think maybe the major way that I try to approach our relationship differently now is just communication. Because we're both together so much because we moved overseas together that we really have to like be really careful with our communication and make sure like it's always friendly and that sort of stuff, because I feel like tone can lead to arguments and that sort of thing. So I think both of us have kind of had to change how we communicate with each other just because we spend so much time with each other.
Yeah, we got to be careful. I think it's because you spend so much time with each other, it's kind of like sometimes I forget to say please. She does too sometimes.
Yeah.
But I mean, just sort of the niceties not fade, but like because you're together sometimes you kind of expect the other person to know what you mean, or even if you don't say it all the way, but it's always nice to put in that extra effort.
You have to say what you mean, not just know what you mean.
Yes.
Yeah. And I also think being married has helped us to like, we have to forcibly like make date time and like be creative with like our leisure activities to kind of, you know, keep making. Okay, so we have one question that came in from YouTube. And she wrote a really nice message saying congrats on her marriage, and then she had a few questions. She said, why did you choose Qatar in particular? I know so many countries love to have Americans teaching English there. What motivated you all to move there? I love your short haircut. BT dubs. Thank you.
I don't actually know why. That was her decision. I didn't want Qatar, to be honest. But I think in general we got to pick between 3 cities for when we were teaching for the school. We chose Abu Dhabi, Qatar, and Muscat. I think Muscat was probably my top choice. followed by Abu Dhabi and then Doha. We didn't know a whole lot about it. Like, you know, you went to the wiki travel page and it looked good. And it's a pretty nice city, and I think it'll be much nicer in 5 to 10 years when there's less banging outside our windows at 6 a.m.
This is talking about Doha.
Yeah, this is Doha. Here is very nice.
So, I think after college, both Michael and I are at a point where we don't know exactly what we wanted to do, so teaching abroad sounded like a good idea, and we applied to a company to get placed in the Middle East. I think we chose the Middle East because Michael is part Arab, he's actually part Syrian, and he speaks Arabic pretty well, and he wanted to work on it, and also over here we're closer to basically...
My family's still over here, so...
the whole half of his family that still lives here, so we would get to meet some of them, which would be good for him, and also for me, since
met one of
I'm
my
new to the fam.
Cousins in Doha. There's like they're
everywhere.
There's one actually, you know, 10 minutes away now. So, you know, you just go wherever, and you find someone.
Yeah, I hope that answers y'all's question. And I speak Arabic a little bit too. You want to speak a little Arabic?
Okay. What do you want to say?
مرحبا.
مرحبتين.
كيفك حبيبي؟
الحمد لله. وكيفك انتي؟
كويسة الحمد لله. انت من وين؟
أنا من أمريكا.
أنا من أمريكا. también. My Arabic's a little rusty, and honestly my Spanish just... that is all the questions we have. So if you guys want to see more about our lives over here in the Middle East, definitely check out the vlog channel. I'll try to put a little link over here. It's called waterlilyvlogs, and I'll put it down below as well. And thank you guys so much for watching. Yeah, we will see you guys in the next video. Definitely leave any more questions you have down below in the comments, or maybe some ideas for like a challenge video we could do together or something fun. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next video.
Bungee jumping.
Bye!
Bye-bye. Dubai is Dubai.
Are you looking at this?
I have no idea.
Oh,